Let's get started here. Today we have the pleasure of Scanning Solutions, which is a Houston-based solution provider. And we are going to talk about some exciting things about digital and mobile and how store operations are being enhanced, convenience stores and retail stores. I have the pleasure of having Dinesh and Suj, who are part of the management team at Scanning Solutions. And shortly we'll hear from them directly. I am going to hand it over to Dinesh and Suj to tell us a little bit about Scanning Solutions and then quickly dive into pain problem solution and benefits and just share their experience, automating store operations, convenience and retail stores. Before I hand it over, I guess I just want to highlight what we are going to listen today is about how delivery operations, inventory management, price management, and I think that these are issues that everybody in retail and convenience stores, this is on top of your mind. That's what we're going to hear. So over to you, Dinesh, I guess. Take it over.
It looks like he's on mute, but that's okay. We can start with the way we started our company. Is that Dinesh's older brother, he got a convenience store in 1991, and we were working for him at the time. And it was the old Gilbarco system that it had a bad keyboard, and we flipped it over to clean one day, and we figured out you could plug in a scanner, but we didn't realize we had to program every item. So it took us a month and a half to program every item, and 6 months later, we had a lightning strike and lost everything. That's when Dinesh went to work because he was going to school to program at the time, and he went and got the specs for that old Gilbarco, and he wrote code so we could back it up and add items without having to use the register. And we were like, hey, we could make this a business. And so that's how we started out, is providing a solution for ourselves. And so we started going out on site and building price books for customers. And I've been all over the country setting up stores. And some of the problems that I've run into is seeing the lack of control that the owners had with their stores, as far as cashiers not knowing prices or giving discounts because they don't know prices, the taking of deliveries, not counting properly, and data entry errors all over the place, plus using paper to keep track of your fuel reconciliation reports and your inventory. So with our solution, we've automated a way for them to take deliveries as far as from their grocery company, and take deliveries with the handheld scanner, as well as make sure that all the cashier has to do is scan the item and put money in the register. So the cashier doesn't have to think. And the manager just takes the deliveries in. And one other big problem that we saw was the tracking of the scratch-off tickets. You only make 5% on that. So if you lose 1 or 2 tickets, there goes your money for the whole book. So with our software, the cashier or manager just scans all the tickets at the end of the shift, puts in how much they rang up. It's a blind scan. So you as the owner can come in and take a look at it.
But what are the top 2 pain problems you would say as you work across customers you found, be it retail, convenience stores, in this whole store operation? What are the top 2 pain problems?
The cashiers not scanning and tracking pricing, not knowing the prices, and taking in the deliveries and keeping track of inventory.
Okay. All right.
So those are the 2 biggest ones that's the biggest shrink that they run into.
So you've been to talk about the solution, and I think if you can frame this in the reference of more from a customer context, right? If you put yourself in their shoes, so how does your solution address their pain problems? So let's spend maybe a minute on this slide, but not in terms of the usual pitch, but more of how customers are benefiting from some of these solutions.
Well, as you can see on there, the main things that we provide with our solution is price book management, inventory management, export to accounting, and keeping track of your fuel. So I've learned a long time ago, and this was in convenience store news, that 74% of your shrink is through employee theft or error. So when you set your own prices and not allow the cashier to type in any items, that's going to eliminate a lot of that error. And then the rest of it is is keeping track of your inventory, what's coming in, what's going out. And that's where the handheld scanner comes in with the software that you guys helped us create.
Dinesh, do you want to chime in here and maybe add some of your perspective?
Well, the biggest thing we've done in the last 10 years was transition from a desktop-based single site system to a cloud-based system. So now we're leveraging the power of AWS SQL Server backend, and we're also using your technology, your middleware software, to control the inventory and run the software in the cloud where it can be accessed from multiple locations. It can also control multiple sites. So we're able to scale this up for 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 sites, multiple price books depending on the area that the individual sites may be located. So we're trying to make it a solution that's easy to manage, where you're not spending all your time managing the software and yet still get the benefits of price book, scanning, inventory, price management, and then all the other functions that come in with that. Interfacing with the point of sale so that there's no double entry required. All the information flows from the stores into the cloud-based system where you can look at reporting, track sales, track inventory. So you're spending more time managing and less time doing the day-to-day nuts and bolts work of having to enter data.
Okay, so that's a good segue to the next part of the discussion, which is about, so you have this good back office system, but then you decided, what was it, 4 years ago, to put a front end, mobile front end to it. And I'm going to go to that slide, and then also want you to talk about a little bit more about the reporting that store owners get, right? Because that's another big thing. So, but let's talk about the digital mobile front end you put to this. And why is it important? I think we've talked before where you have mentioned that offline is a big deal. I would think that stores always have offline, so always have connectivity. So talk about some of the mobility highlights of your solution, how you extended your backend to the hands of the retail worker, right? So let's talk a little bit about the mobile aspect.
Well, so basically what we used to do back in the old desktop days was we had a batch scanner that the users at the store, the employees, cashiers, system managers would use to collect information about what's happening at the store. One of the unique things in the C-store industry is we have a lot of our vendors are direct store delivery vendors. So you don't know what you're getting until they walk into the store with the order and the invoice in hand. So we have to capture that information as a product is entering the store so that we can verify, one, we're getting the right products at the right retail price and cost. So we're auditing for retail at the point of purchase. In addition to that, we're also attempting to, making sure that the item's going to actually scan so you can put the item on the shelf. If a customer picks it up and takes it to the register, it's going to be able to be scanned, sold to the customer at the correct retail. And just seamlessly getting those products from those vendors onto the shelf and ready for sale, and also entering the inventory in. Now we moved to the cloud-based system where we couldn't use a batch scanner anymore. That wasn't possible. You needed something that was still connected to the cloud. But one of the problems we have in some of these areas where we have remote locations, where remote C-stores, is they may or may not have good quality internet. So one of the things we wanted to integrate with that is the ability for the device to work independent of the cloud, and that's where Unvired came in with their Unvired, their back-end system. Their middleware, it was able to help us build a product that still integrated with our cloud system, had the appearance of being online all the time, and yet if for some reason there wasn't connectivity, they would still be able to do their work. They would still be able to receive merchandise and do the things they need to do at the store. And then, the software would sense when the internet connectivity was restored and sophisticated in the way it does that, and then it finally pushes that data that it's storing up to the cloud. So that's where Unvired came in and helped us with that. We have mobile applications that can do a lot of simple things and reporting and that sort of thing, but they don't have the ability to work offline like this device does.
Okay, so offline was key for you, and I know that you're using Android tablets, right? That's the mobile device of choice. So let's move to the next slide here and maybe delve a little bit deeper into the solution. Suj has already mentioned some of the things about item maintenance and the price book and all that. But in terms of, is there anything you want to highlight here or point out some specific things that in terms of either delivery or item maintenance, any unique insights you've get gleaned, over the years that may not be
Well,
obvious?
This slide basically highlights the functions that the mobile software can do in the store from the mobile device. So delivery creation, that would be scanning items in as the vendors bring in the store. We also have the ability to scan products at the shelf and make price changes, add products, that sort of thing. Then there's price management, same thing. Inventory control. We can use these devices to count and audit the store's inventory based on what the book inventory is in the main back-end database. And then lottery management, where we can capture the lottery ticket information from the G-Tech barcodes that are printed on the lottery tickets, capturing inventory by serial number to manage and track lottery. This is all the main functions of the device, and many of these functions are things that you can do directly in the cloud software, but having to carry products back and forth to a PC, that becomes a very slow process, and this speeds all that up. And that's the reason for the mobile device.
Okay, no, that makes sense. So just a couple of clarifications. When we talk of delivery creation, it's actually the store owners are receiving goods, right? So is it basically goods receipt?
That is correct. They're receiving merchandise. There's other ways that C-stores receive merchandise. Obviously, they'll receive a lot of their merchandise from a grocery vendor. And in most cases, that is a pre-order process. So the order is being placed by the convenience store or maybe from a home office, and then that they know what product's coming before the products arrived. And then we have other ways of, like, for instance, EDI, to be able to receive that merchandise into the back office without scanning. A lot of the smaller vendors, like Frito-Lay, your soda pop vendors, your local beer vendors, ice cream, milk, you don't know what you're getting until they show up at the store in many cases. A lot of times you get what they have in the truck. If they're out of one thing, they fill the shelf with something else. And that's, in those cases, using the mobile device to capture those receipts as they come in is an important aspect of our system.
Okay, and then talk a little bit about the reporting, because if I'm a store owner, right, or whether I'm in retail or convenience stores, reporting, right? What about my, what are my sales like? Do I have enough inventory? Can you talk a little bit about the reporting functionality you have for your customers?
Well, obviously, the reporting functions aren't going to be done with the mobile device. Now, this mobile device can be locked down on different levels of access based on who's using it, but there's no reporting on it. The reporting is going to be done either with the cloud software in a web browser, or we have another app that can be downloaded from Google or Macintosh, whatever, the iPhone. And you can download that app and run reports on that. And the reports, anything from inventory reports, sales reports, movement reports, purchasing reports. There's hundreds of different ways you can run hundreds of different reports. So just most of them are going to be scanning centric, so you're going to see individual item based information, but you can also look at summarized information as well. Again, will give you as many reports as you could think of as from what's happening to C-Store. Also, live sales is available. We've got dashboards in the software that can show you live sales as they're happening. Live transactions can be looked at as they're happening at the store. There's a 2 to 3 minute delay on those in some cases, but so you can track what's happening at your stores, individual stores or multiple stores.
So let's talk about some of the business benefits, right? So I think we've listed here some of the benefits, but I was hoping that you can maybe add some color to these benefits, or maybe even give some tangible examples. Do you have any idea about, is it a 10% improvement in some of these areas? Can you quantify any of these benefits? So I think people always want to hear, okay, what are the benefits that actual customers have received? Maybe you can even take a couple of real examples without naming the customers. So, any more insights into some real world examples of how maybe a couple of your customers have benefited?
Actually, what I've encountered this is a general all around thing that I've done is when I've gone out on site or we've done it remotely and we've implemented scanning as well as a complete back office. And actually not the complete back office in regards to going to accounting or anything, just inventory management and scanning. The pure profit within the next month has been an increase of 2 to 5%.
Wow.
And and a lot of stores have been much higher than that as well. Because the cashiers, the employees, they can't steal from you. And then you'll catch a lot of the mistakes that they've made as well, just by looking at your sales reports of what's come in and what's gone out of the store.
Okay.
And you're not going to have any data entry errors putting it into accounting or anything else.
I think when we were talking earlier, Dinesh mentioned something about audits. So does it help with audits also in terms of employees not giving some discounts ad hoc? Or can you tell a little bit about the audit benefits here from a store owner perspective?
One of the funny stories is when Dinesh first wrote this, we would go with the scanner and we would know this particular cashier smoked that brand of cigarettes. So you'd scan that pack and do a count and go, hey, how come I'm short 2 packs of this? Don't you smoke that brand? Cuts it off right then and there. So that's just a micro benefit of doing a physical audit. We also work with third-party inventory companies such as Regis that you can pay them to come to your store. You give them your price book, you can export it to them. They count it, give you a file, and you import it, and you generate an item level shrink report. And then you can go behind them and verify that they did count correctly and know where your loss is.
Okay.
So that's very important.
We had an employee that liked to dip his hands into the little tiny donuts and stuff, and we knew he was taking it. We could count it on a weekly basis, and we knew we were losing money on that. But he was such a good employee, I kind of looked the other way, and pointed out to him occasionally, hey, you need to take it easy on that stuff. But yeah, I think we talked about auditing, and obviously you can use our mobile device to count inventory, but using a third party is also convenient because it's such a labor intensive job to do in-house.
Right.
It also brings a third party in there that's not involved in your business. So if you have your manager and your employees count, then it's the fox counting the hens.
So I think if I can maybe summarize, the main points of today's discussion are that there are 3 or 4 areas in store operations where one can really benefit from a cloud-based and a mobile-enabled solution, which is helping you receive your deliveries, creation of that, inventory management, price management, lottery book management, decrease of theft, pilfering, better audits. And I think that a lot of the retail and convenience stores are probably these ideas are resonating with them. How long does it typically take to deploy your cloud-based solution, right? And putting the mobile front end to it. So you want to take a stab at it?
It doesn't take very long if the customer is already scanning. And are we talking about, if it's just an individual store, we can roll it out within a day if they're already scanning, and then another couple of days to train depending upon their experience and the amount of time they have to be trained. And then if you want to roll it out to multiple locations, then it depends on how they want to schedule the implementation. Converting a store, just a single store is for everything is done in less than a day.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's a very, very fast, I guess, payback. Okay, that's excellent. How do you price this the software? Is it on a subscription basis? Is it a one-time perpetual license? What is the business model, Suj?
It's subscription based, and we'll provide a discount if they pay annually.
Is it a per user per month or just a monthly subscription, or does it depend on users? How does it work?
It's per site per month. So you can have one store and it's $50 or $100 a month for that store, and you can have as many users as you want for that location.
Ganesh and Suj, any other comments?
I guess not.
All right. Okay. Sounds
All right,
good then.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.